Okay, we'll kick off and then anybody can join us. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today for what I'm sure will be a very enjoyable and beneficial session ahead of the new season. As I communicated, it will last approximately 1 hour. If you can please keep your cameras and microphones off during the presentation, just to avoid distractions for others, and there'll be an opportunity to ask questions at the end. Okay. So straight into it, I'll now introduce Frederick and Gracian from ELIET. So over to you guys, okay? I'll come back on at the end. So
Yeah,
welcome.
So welcome everybody. Thank you, Scott. Welcome everybody to attend this first year meeting online. First of all, the best wishes from the ELIET team to everybody. So I am Gracienne Genens, so the sales director from ELIET Europe. ELIET Europe is now a company, a manufacturer since more than 41 years of garden machineries, and we working with PSD since many years in England. We are very happy with that. And for the new season, we have introduced new products. Some of them will be exhibited at the BTME. So now you see us not in reality, but you will see us there, me in reality at the BTME. This is Frederick Littard, so the owner of the company, and he will now give you the explanation about these products. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you slept well, because it will be a full hour of information that I will send to you today. Okay, if you talk about the ELIET, many people immediately think about shredders, but ELIET is a lot more than shredders. Let's say last 25 years, we have developed quite a big range of turf care equipment. Turf care equipment that is very complementary to each other, and not so many people know about our products. So I take this opportunity to introduce you some of our products, and especially one of the latest that we launched last year. That's our EcoCure, the machine standing here right behind me. So EcoCure is for ELIET is a top dresser, but top dressing is not completely new for us. We've been dealing with top dressers for many years. In the past, we had a toe behind top dresser that was that we sold for I guess 10, 15 years, but we mainly focused on sports fields, soccer fields, that kind of, because it was a toe behind machine. For landscapers, that was not always convenient because you need a tractor to tow it, and that makes it quite difficult if you have to do the transport towards end customers. So that's why we came up with the idea of making a self-propelled unit, and that's what we basically launched last year. That's the machine standing next to us. I'll show you just a picture how the former machine looked like. This former machine is still available. The former machine had a roller and was also a slice aerator combined in one unit, and the top dresser combined in one unit. So if we look today at the machine we are now exhibiting, and we can go back to that picture. So the machine standing here is a self-propelled unit, and it's differentiating from the machine we had because instead of a drop spreader, it's a wide spreader that we have here. But before I go into detail, I would like to show you a short video which shows you how the product works and what it is capable of. So as you can see here, this is a machine standing in a domestic garden. You see it's a wide spreader. It's working with two discs who distribute the, in this case, sand, but it could be used also to spread compost, chalk, all these kind of things. Okay. You see on the top of the hopper there is that black zone, that black metal sheet look. That's an optional an optional extra hopper that you can put on top of it, especially if you're loading the hopper with a crane or with a dumper. So you see the operator is working on reverse now, but you could also work it in forward direction. So you see it's a compact machine, so narrow passages you can get to it. Traction on the machine is good. You can easily climb stairs. All right, there we again. So now I'll go into detail how this machine is built and what is special about the unit. So first of all, what is important to know is the machine is completely hydrostatic. So there's no mechanical transmission, so everything is hydraulic, which means that it's basically service-free. So what is driven? First of all, the drive on the wheels is hydrostatic, so you have that advantage of having a proportional speed regulation in the forward and the reverse direction. Again, no maintenance. And then all the components. So you have the conveyor inside the hopper, and you have the two spindles at the back who are hydraulically driven. Again, I say hydraulically, but actually it's hydrostatically because we can also change the speed of those proportionally. So I'll show you a little bit more in detail. We'll have a look at the parts in detail. So here you see the two spindles. These are big spindles, so the big discs that are capable of casting the product quite wide. And so we can actually cast it up to 8 meters wide, which is quite important. So also very interesting for using the machine on sports fields as well. So we have sold some already for this application. So as you can see here, we have located the hydraulic motors underneath. So it's a direct drive. So no chains or no transmissions there. So the hydraulic motors drive the spindles immediately. So that means that, again, there is no service needed. And as you can see here, a second hydro motor is there to drive the conveyor. If we look inside the machine, you see there's the conveyor. As you can see also, we have made a conveyor which has shields at the side. So there is no dirt like sand or compost that can go underneath the conveyor, so that to keep it nice and clean. And as you can see, we also have this agitator, which is in the back of that hopper. So just before the material is casted on the discs. So this is there to keep the sand and the compost or the chalk loose, so that there is no blockage created in front of the guillotine at which we determine the amount of sand spread. As you can see here, so there you have this guillotine, and we can open this up very easily, and that's how we set the volume. So the gap underneath there determines how much material is actually casted on the discs. Important is that we can adjust the speed of the conveyor and adjust the speed of the discs. That enables us to change the width of casting the material, because of course you have sometimes in a garden, if you don't want to create overlap, or you have, as we can see on the video, you have narrow passages where you have to spread the material as well, and there you have to be able to change the width of casting, and that because we have chosen to have a hydrostatic drive, we can adjust both, and they are connected together. And to make it easy, so if we go to the front side of the machine, so where you have all the handles, so you see there is one handle, And this handle actually is there to change the speed of both of the conveyor and the spindles. So, and they're connected together. So to change the width of casting is simply by moving this lever forward or backwards, you change the speed, and that determines how wide you spread the material. And as the conveyor is also connected to that, the material casted on the disc is less, so there is no, let's say, no exaggeration in those areas where you want to cast less wide. To make it easy for the operator, because you will play constantly with this small lever, but of course, to make sure that you can always return to the setting that you have determined, we have this slider here, which you can slide forward and backwards, and that's the way you can determine or set basically the rate of spreading that you normally will apply in that application. And that gives you an idea, because also if you come at a zone where you have to turn, you just pull this backwards, then it stops casting. And then as soon as you have turned the machine and you're ready to do the next stroke, you just push it back to the normal position. And you know the setting of the machine is exactly the same as the stroke before. Okay. So, and basically with this one, so the volume of material we spread will actually be determined by a combination of the speed of this conveyor belt and also the settings that we did here on the back side of the machine with this guillotine that we can actually lower or lift depending on the situation. Okay, good. What else is important? So we chose to have very large wheels on the machine because ground pressure is important because we don't want to create any traces on a lawn if we're driving on it. So that's why we have actually chosen very wide tires. And so to have as you can see there, you have wide tires, and these wide tires, if you combine both and you combine this with the front wheels over there, you actually have a very good weight distribution on the turf to avoid any traces or any damage or compaction, because we have quite a big hopper on top of it, so we can actually put up to 600 liters in that hopper, so which is quite a lot. So of course that brings also weight with the machine. So and there, of course, to avoid that this pressure comes on the ground, we chose these large wheels on it. Also, if you can see, we chose to make a hopper which is where the sides of the hopper are quite vertical to avoid that the material gets stuck and you have the bridging effect that plays. So here the conveyor is quite wide in combination with the sides of the hopper, and that means that there is very little material that remains on the walls of the hopper. Okay, we chose to have a 13 horsepower engine on the machine, which is quite a lot. So we have enough power there. That power is needed because, of course, sometimes you have to load the machine on a trailer or in a van, and that suppose that you fill up the hopper already with sand or with compost before you go to the work site, then the machine becomes quite heavy, and you have to be able to load that on the truck. So that's why we need some power, and so we have that power available. And as you can see, we also have electric start, so that makes it very convenient for the operator to start his machine. As you can see, the machine is quite narrow, so we have a width of 90 centimeters, so we basically can access any kind of garden. To drive the machine, it's quite simple. We installed one big joystick, and with the joystick, just by moving the joystick forwards or backwards, you determine the speed of driving. And to make a curve, so we have the steering handle in front of the machine, and just by moving the handle, so we can actually turn the machine in the direction we want to have it. All right. Another thing which is important, because of course depending on what you're spreading, and that's building a little bit experience for the operator, we have all kinds of settings that you can do. So for instance, you can also change the position of the spindles. And so there is a setting. So if you go down below there, you see there is that knob over there, and that knob allows you to loosen the whole spindle setting. And so you can move the spindles forwards and backwards. So you can actually move it in and out, as you can see. So we move it forward and backwards, and that means that the material falling from the conveyor on the spindles you can adjust this depending on what type of material you're spreading, to obtain the right distribution of the material. Okay, so that are the most important features to tell about the machine. Of course, as you can see, we're talking about a professional unit here. A professional unit with very low maintenance. So it's really something that is, that can be set amongst the premium top dressers in the market. Currently, we offer this machine at a very attractive price. Therefore, I suggest you contact people from PSD. They might tell you everything, and there are some special deals at the moment. So it's the moment to promote this unit in the market. It's on display at the BTME show next week. Good. All right. Another thing which is important is, of course, if people think about top dressers, we think about turf care. But there are other applications as well that are interesting. For instance, now it's the time, it's winter, it's freezing, it's snowing. And of course, we have to clear snow or to avoid that snow is accumulating. So we could also use this top dresser to spread salt. And this is also a nice application, especially for landscapers who have a little bit more time in winter. So they can do also this kind of winter service or offer this winter service with their unit. And then in this way, make the machine more profitable if they acquire one. And I'll show you a video now that shows this application with salt in wintertime. Zal ik de camera doen? All right. So if there are any questions about the EcoCure, feel free to ask them, but we will reserve the questions for after the presentation. Then I'll be very happy to respond to any questions that might be there. Okay, let's move on to the next machine. Next machine is also a range of machines that ELIET is very notorious of. So it's detachers. Of course, detachers is one of the first products in the ELIET range. So already did it 40 years ago. One of the first machines was a detacher. And we stood out as a manufacturer of detachers for so many years. There are some features which you probably know that differentiate us from the competition, such as permanently sharp blades, so blades who never lose their tip to keep their efficiency all year long. Or during the whole lifespan of the blades, the efficiency always stays the same. So this is something unique which ELIET has to offer. Next to that, we have the vertical belt tensioning, which is reliable and never breaks any belts, which is also good for landscapers because if they're on the job, they don't want to break a belt and lose time with that. So these are features that made our brand notorious. But okay, over the years, we have always been innovating, and there have been several innovations that we brought in the market with detachers. Think about our compactor. It was the first detacher on the market who also collects the moss and compacts it in a catcher. So we had the collector, so the machine who is actually also picking up the moss and collecting it and putting it to the side of the machine in a withrow to have easier cleaning afterwards. And basically last year or 2 years ago, we launched a complete new range, which we call the EZR range. This is a self-propelled range of detachers, and this is actually launching a complete new era of detaching, and we call this quality detaching. And this is really we are sure that these lineup of machines, we have a lineup of three different models right now in this EZR range, will actually take over the market because the benefits you have with those machines are tremendous. And to explain this, we have a nice animation video which shows you this. You have a look at it right now. So this is the range of products we have. So we have three working with. We have 45 centimeters, 55 centimeters, and 65 centimeters, which gives you as a dealer the opportunity to offer the product that fits the range or the kind of needs of your landscaper. And as you can see here, we have chosen to put our double cut blades in the machine. These are ultra thin blades, which make very little damage to the lawn. And we have a very narrow spacing of the blades one to each other. There's only 1.5 centimeter distance between the blades. So that means that the clarification you do with the machine is very thorough, and you have a limit of damage. As you can see here, the machine is not driving on 4 wheels, but is driving on a roller in the back. This roller in the back is actually giving you some extra benefits because while detaching, you're also rolling your lawn. And rolling your lawn, as you know, many landscapers are using the detacher in the beginning of the season. So a lawn is quite uneven because worms have been very busy in spring. And of course, as the mowing season starts, it's always beneficial to have a rolling of your lawn early in the season, because afterwards your mowers will run a lot smoother, especially if we're talking about robot mowers, which are very light and which are very, if they drive on all these bumps, they have a very uneven cutting result. And by using the detacher, the self-propelled detachers, you do two things in one. And so basically you have the rolling effect and you have the detaching effect in one. As you can see here, we with this new generation of detachers, we have basically thought about the comfort of use, because in general, detachers haven't really changed over the years. And we thought, okay, it's high time to offer some more comfort of work to the landscaper. Because, okay, detachers is somehow in a certain period of the year, it's a machine which is used a lot. So we thought here, okay, if we can put an anti-vibrated steering handle on the machine that is adjustable in height, that could always give a comfortable working position to the operator. As you can see here, anti-vibrated, so minimum vibrations to the hands of the operator. And now comes the most important thing about the self-propelled detacher, by the fact that we have a wheel drive on the machine. We really can allow us to operate and have the blades spin opposite direction. So they pick the detach up a lot better as a normal classical detacher, because it really lifts the detach out of the lawn and throws it overhead. And as you can see, the detach flies over the rear roller, so basically falls back on a lawn that has been folded down. So the grass, by the roller pushes the lawn down, and then the thatch falls on top of that, which makes it very easy to clean up the thatch afterwards, which is very beneficial. And of course, by the fact that you have those blades counter-rotating, you take a lot more moss out of the lawn. Most of the people who have operated a detacher have experienced that if you take a classical detacher and you pull it backwards, that the result is a lot better. That it gets a lot more thatch out of the lawn. So basically, this is happening all the time with your EZR detacher, because you have those counter-rotating blades. So the combination of double cut blades, so the very thin blades, which are very narrow spaced, and this overhead turning blades give the machine a tremendous good result. So the amount of moss you get out of the lawn in one go is a lot higher, and you cause a lot less damage to the turf, which makes it possible so that this recovers a lot faster from the detaching. So you win several times with that machine. So there are all these benefits into this lineup. So we have this lineup of 3 models, 3 working with, where we respond exactly to what the market is needing. So if you have customers who come or who have to replace their detacher, instead of offering the classical detacher line that we have, of course, those machines are good, but it's time for a ramp up. It's time to offer them something better, and of course, this EZR range has everything to offer. Of course, you have all these features to explain, so it's quite easy to convince people about these products, especially that the price up towards we were very aggressive on pricing with those machines to have the inroads easy, and so it's ideal now to promote those and to have or to let landscapers experience the benefits of this kind of machines. It's always good to have such a machine in demo, because put this in the hands of your landscaper and you don't have to explain anything to them. Practice says it all. If you use the machine, the difference in operation is so tremendous that actually once they have seen it or once they have experienced it, they don't want to go back to the classical detachers. So this is really something you should promote. The timing is there. So the season is right ahead of us. So make sure you have such a machine in your showroom that you can show it. As you could see, we have this nice animation video which explains everything clearly and which reminds you of all the benefits that these machines have. Okay, good. So again, if there are any questions about this, I'll be free to answer your questions after this presentation. And then I would like to swap to the next machine. That's again a machine or a type of machine we have been developing in the last, let's say, we have quite some experience, probably 20 years experience in overseeding, but especially in the last 10 years, with our DZC range, we have really revolutionized the market and made overseeding accessible for landscapers, because overseeding is important. A lawn is degrading. It's a natural effect. Everybody gets older. That's the same for a lawn. But the thing is that while you're cutting the lawn all the time, lawn never comes in a situation where it can create its own seed and rejuvenate itself. And so that means that if part of the lawn dies just by age, it's not replaced. So and all the lawn that is gone. Of course, there is gaps created between the grass plants, and of course, that's the space where weeds start growing, where you have an accumulation of thatch, where moss has free play, and that's what we have to avoid. And the only way, okay, you can detach to resolve this and to remove all this invasion into your turf, but that is not the solution. I mean, this helps and is necessary. But to solve it and to create a dense lawn, which is actually showing the quality of your turf, is a dense lawn, and to restore that, you need to overseed. But what is difficult with overseeding is that seed is expensive, and people spread a lot of seed on their lawn. And if you throw just seed on the surface, a lot of this dies and never comes to growing. The secret to have a good overseeding is that you can get the seed into the ground, because there it's in the position where it can start germinating fast, and where basically every seed that you get into the ground grows into a plant. And that's what we solved with our DZC range. We managed to create a machine that is able to inject the seed into the soil. And we have, again, a nice animation that shows you how this works. And we'll launch this animation now. So, of course, always important as a dealer, if you talk about overseeding, there is some preparing to do. And the preparing is, of course, cut your lawn as short as possible. Don't be afraid, you can exaggerate, because in the end you will be overseeding, so you'll have a lot of new grass growing. Next step is thoroughly cleaning. So make sure that all the competition, so all the invasion of weeds or thatch or moss has to be removed. So you have to do this thoroughly. So of course, with the new detacher line, you can do this faster, because you have those combination of blades and the overhead running. So that helps you. But of course, with a classical detacher, you can do this as well. And you just detaching cross, and then you make sure that the lawn is cleaned up. Afterwards, remove everything. And you don't have to be afraid that there might be also part of the lawn gone, because you will somehow seed again. So you have this new fresh lawn that will soon take over and will be like a new lawn. So once this is done, then we come with the overseeder, and that's what we will see now. So of course, select the right seed for it. So there are species of or mixtures that are meant for overseeder machines, because these are types of seed which germinate faster, and sometimes would need less temperature to start germinating. And what you can see here is how the machine is built. So we have a reel in the front. And what is special is that we have what we call our helix seed duct system. That's a very compact seed distribution system that allows us to bring the seed right behind the blades. So the blades in front of the machine, they cut the grooves in the ground, and this seed distribution system brings the seed where it has to be. You see also a roller in the back, and then you see our top dress rotor. So here you see what happens inside the machine. So you see the rotor turning, and they cut grooves. Again, as you can see here, counter-rotating blades, which throw the soil that you cut out of the ground, by cutting the groove, throws it backwards. That top dress rotor helps the soil to get out of the machine, and also scatters that soil so that it's nicely distributed. And then there you see that we have a seed container, which is not over the width of the machine, but it's coming to the side, and elements or feeds that seed distribution system. And you will see this seed distribution system is made out of augers. So you see there is augers transporting the seed from the seed container. And along this first auger channel, you have all kind of small funnels. And these funnels will bring the seed right above the grooves, which are freshly cut. So there is no contamination of the grooves. And the fall distance is only 1 inch. So you're pretty sure that most of the seed that falls from the funnels will end up in the grooves. All the seed that hasn't been spread is brought into a second channel, where you have the seed reversed or turning back or pushed back towards the seed container. And in this way, seed is circulating all the time. And as you can see here to the side, we have also a small impeller. This impeller is actually injecting air inside the system. So we have a third little channel where we inject that air, and that air is actually blown into the little funnels that throw the seed into the grooves. So the seed really gets a boost and is blown deep into those grooves. All the seed which hasn't dropped in the grooves and which is on the ground is pressed against the soil by the roller, because the roller comes right behind it and closes the groove. So the seed which fall into grooves is enclosed into the ground. And to make sure that even the seed which is not in the grooves is protected, so the soil that we use by cutting the grooves is cast it back onto that onto the seeding bed. So basically the seed is covered by the top dressing of the soil we got out of the lawn. So this is a perfect system, which assures that the seed gets into the ground, and that's where it will start germinating. As you can see, the machine is quite simple. Height adjustment is easy. So we cut up to 1 centimeter deep. So that is a quarter of, let's say, half an inch deep. No, not half an inch, a little bit less than half an inch. You see, the handles are very easy. So we made it like very intuitive. So we have one handle to activate the blades, and we have one handle. The next one you see is the yellow one. It's also the color pattern. The yellow one is referring to seed. So there you open the seed container or the seed distribution system, and you activate it. Then you bring the knives into the ground with the third lever, and then the fourth lever is actually to activate the wheel drive or the roller drive, and to start driving the machine. So so this unit is quite unique. And this technology, we have brought this on the market in 2 versions. So we have 2 models. So we have a model called 450, and we have a model called 600. So this is the working width of the machine. So basically, the machines are identical. The only difference there is, of course, the working width, and of course, the horsepower is the performance of the engine that we have there. Again, a little reference to our top dresser from the beginning of our presentation. Of course, it's always interesting if you have been overseeding, so to use the top dresser in a later stage, also to cover up and to give that food to the new fresh growing grass. Of course, it's important that after overseeding that there is sufficient rainfall, or at least you have to irrigate. So to give water because seed without water won't germinate. But of course, our overseeding is beneficial because you have the seed into the ground, so you have the moisture from the soil, which will bring it to the seed. But again, rain is important, so it's important to select the right timing when you do the overseeding. Overseeding last years has become a lot more popular for several reasons. First of all, we are dealing with global warming and the climate change. Climate change brings drought. Drought makes lawn suffer a lot more. So there is a lot more lawn or grass that dies due to drought. And so after a dry period, we have to do some renovation of a lawn. So there, overseeding is a cheap way to renovate a lawn very quickly. Of course, if we want to make our lawn climate robust, also seed mixtures are evolving. And so the breeders of seed are doing a lot of research to make seed that is more resistant against drought. Of course, if you have an existing lawn and you want to convert it to a lawn that is more resistant to drought, the way to do it without having to get the whole lawn out and install a complete new lawn, you can do this by overseeding. So by overseeding with the right type of seed, you can actually gradually, year by year, install that new kind of grass in your existing lawn, and in this way make your lawn climate robust for the future. So these are our ways where overseeders have their place and become like a very popular thing, and which bring a lot of money for the landscapers because it becomes part of their yearly job. All right. Again, if there are any questions about overseeding, it's important as well that you as a dealer knows about this. So it's always good to have a machine on display in your showroom. Again, we have this nice animation video which explains everything very clearly. But okay, as you know, landscapers always like to hold the machine once before they decide to buy. So therefore, it's always good to have one, or at least put one in rental, because we have continuously develop the machines to be more let's say bulletproof for rental application as well. So the DZC 450 and the new DZC 600 are very well built also for rental applications as well. Very important, if you have machines in rental, make sure that your customer or when the machine comes back, that it's empty, so that there is no seats remaining in the machine. Because of course, suppose you put the machine outside, it's a little bit, it's raining or it's humid. The slightest humidity makes grass germinate, and you don't want the grass to germinate inside your machine, because that's really a hurdle. So always make sure that the machine is empty. We made it very convenient to do so. So there is a latch underneath the machine that enables you to open up that whole seat distribution system quite easily. So to empty the whole seat distribution system easily. Also, make sure the machine is always clean when it comes back, and then you have no trouble at all with overseaters. Okay, good. So now we go to the next machine, and that's the one we have standing over here. Therefore, we have to change your camera position a little. These are our turf cutters, sod cutters. Again, ELIET brought a revolution in the market because we were the first manufacturer in the industry who made a sod cutter on tracks. Because sod cutting is difficult. It's a heavy job because you want to remove an existing lawn. When do you do this? You want to do this when your lawn is so old or has it's so degraded that it makes no sense to keep overseeding, or even when the surface is so uneven that it's better to do the whole, or maybe if you have a very compacted soil which needs to be addressed, then it's sometimes good to do a complete renovation of the whole lawn. And therefore, it's always good to take the old turf away, because by taking the old turf away, you take all the history away from the lawn. Because in a lawn, there's always seeds of weeds which have flown in by wind and so on, which are there, waiting just to germinate. And by removing the old lawn, you take all these seeds from weeds away, which makes sure when you seed a new lawn or when you install roller turf, that you don't have any contamination anymore from the past. But therefore, you need a good machine, because mainly there's a preparation before you do new seeding. And so this is a job which needs to be done quickly. And to get the job done quickly, you need a powerful machine. And what is needed when you want to remove a lawn, because basically what's the technology behind it? You have a blade which is moving back and forth. You put this in the ground, and this blade, you drag this blade towards the lawn, and it's cutting actually the lawn out. But this is a heavy job. Okay? And ideally, you do this when you have had a rainy period where the top layer is soft, because of course, obviously, it always cuts easier when the top layer is soft. But when the top layer is soft, of course, that means there's humidity. Humidity makes the top layer slippery. So of course, if you have a machine that has to drag that blade towards that turf, I mean, the wheels on the machine have to create a lot of traction. And of course, what we see happening with machines from competition is that these rollers continuously start spinning. And of course, in the end, what you see is that the operator has to push the machine to get forward. And that's what we said, okay, when we thought about creating a sod cutter, we said, okay, we want to avoid this. So the way to avoid this is to give the machine good traction. So what we did is, instead of putting wheels underneath the machine, we put tracks underneath the machine, because tracks are the best thing if traction is required. Because if you have tracks, you have a lot wider or a lot longer contact zone with the ground. And this contact zone you need because you want to because you have to have grip on the turf to move the machine forward. And if you compare the contact zone of a track compared to a wheel, that's completely different. So that's why our machines have a very, very, very good traction thanks to these two tracks. And these tracks, because we have that good traction, allows us to have a very wide blade in the back. We have a blade of 60 centimeters, which is quite wide. It's about the widest that you can find in the market, which gives the machine a good efficiency, because you can remove a lawn very fast. Even though when, for instance, the conditions are a little bit worse, suppose that the soil is not soft, is harder because it's drier. Again, you need traction, because the work is becoming harder, because the knife has more difficulty to dig itself through the ground, and then also a good traction is required. And so there again, the tracks do the difference. And of course, to make it very easy to operate such a machine, we combine these tracks with a dual hydrostatic pump. So that means that actually we have two hydrostatic pumps inside this machine. And so each track has its own hydrostatic pump. So basically we can change the driving speed of any track individually. Of course, you might say, okay, that's getting complicated. So to make this quite simple, we combine this all to one little joystick. So in this joystick, by just moving the joystick forward, both tracks gets traction at the same speed. If you want to change direction, then of course what you will do is to speed up one track or slow down the other track, and you make a curve. And difference is here is because we have this dual hydrostatic pump that both tracks keep traction. It's not like a tank where you have one track that is stopped and the other track that is moving. So because there they have a very edgy change of direction. Here, both tracks continuously keep turning. So you can really make a smooth curve by using this machine, because you can play with that speed difference between the two tracks. Again, the other advantage is it's like a zero turn mower. So if you come at the end of a stroke, you lift the blade out of the lawn, and you can actually, by moving this joystick completely to the side, you can have one track going forward, the other going backwards. So you have a zero turn turning radius, which is ideal. Because in practice you're always running in strokes, and so at the end of a stroke you have to make that 180-degree turn to start the new stroke. So the less space you need to do that, and the quicker you can do that, the better it is. And so that's the way we drive the machine. I told you hydrostatic pump, and so that means again no gears. Important, no gears. So that means that you can adjust the driving speed depending on the situation. And so you have, if it's dry, if the soil is moist, you sense how fast you can go, and you can determine the right speed where the machine operates comfortable, where you see that everything is running smooth, the engine has the power to do the job. So that gives you a lot of flexibility. We made it very simple to operate the machine. Also do the settings of the machine. So for instance, here we have, if you see, to do the depth setting of the blade is just you pull the pin and then you move this lever to the depth setting that you require. And you see we can change depth with 7 millimeters at a time. And so that gives you a lot of choices, and it's very easy to do. No tools required. As you also can see, as I told you, we have this large blade of 60 centimeters. You might say, okay, 60 centimeters, that's nice. You go fast, you can remove a lawn very quickly. But what to do afterwards? Because you have to remove all those sods. And if you have a sod from 60 centimeters, that's damn heavy. And so if you want to avoid, so we thought about this to avoid this. So what we did is we have an additional blade in the middle. So we cut out 60 centimeters at once. But instead of having one sod of 60 centimeters, we actually have two sods of 30 centimeters, which is a lot more easier to carry out and avoiding backaches. And so this is also important to know. What you can see here is, it says it here, so to bring the blade into the ground, we do this with the foot. So simply by pushing the blade down, so you lift up the machine and you push with your foot the blade down, which again is convenient because you can use the power of your leg to push that down. Okay, so again, the machine is very service friendly, because a lot of it is hydrostatic. so you don't need any maintenance. And the whole system that moves the blade is equipped with greasing nipples, so you can grease that easily as a maintenance. When we launched this Turf Away with tracks, we got innovation awards for that. And the year after, we decided to bring a second machine. The one you see next to it is exactly identical machine. So in terms of cutting and the way the machine works is identical. The only thing we did here is replacing the tracks by wheels. You might say, okay, why you do this? Because tracks have so many advantages, and that's true. The tracks have maximum traction, which is the best you can get. But of course, you have to learn to operate that. Track has a big contact zone with the ground, so that means that if the speed of a track is changing, it's very direct. And so the effect of your steering movement is quite direct. So that makes the machine quite aggressive. So we have to learn to operate a machine like this. And some people like this, love this, others don't, because they think the machine is too aggressive. And therefore, to meet those people, we made the machine with wheels. So here again, traction is everything. So we have 4 wheels, and every wheel has, again, wheel drive. So it's a 4x4, so giving you a good traction as well. Because again, you have 4 contact zones with the ground, so that traction can be transmitted to the turf. But what we did as well is that what you see is that the wheels are quite narrow, and these narrow wheels sink deeper into the turf, and the teeth of those wheels bite better into the turf, which is important. So think about a car that has to drive on snow. If you look at racing cars that drive on snow, what they do, they put very narrow wheels on it because they have a lot more grip on the snow. The same here happens with this machine. So we put narrow wheels on there with good teeth, so they have a good grip on the turf, and they have a good traction as well. Again, we use the same technology as we have on the tracks for the wheels. So here the same, both sets of wheels, so the one left side and the right side of the machine have, again, this dual hydrostatic pump. So both wheels are driven with the same speed on each side. So, and it's the same way of steering as we have on the machine with tracks. The same way of steering for the 4x4 drive. And this gives you the same kind of maneuverability as we have for the one on tracks, but it's a little less aggressive because we have these 4 points where the machine makes contact to the soil, and this is more let's say user friendly. I would say less aggressive. So people who don't have that much experience can easier work with the 4x4 machine than with the track driven machine. So, this is also important that you know that this machine exists, and so that you can also offer the choice to your customer. Okay, there we go. So this is about it. So we come here at the end of this presentation. Are there any questions so far that I can answer?
All these machines are available at PSD, and that they have also staff that can give you for free demonstrations of these machines, of course. So don't hesitate to contact them if you want to try these machines out. They are available for you. And then they told us that the special price on that machine to launch it at BTME, it's £9,950.
Okay. Scott, are there any questions so far that you got?
No. If anybody does have any questions, and the think of afterwards. If you can email them through, and we'll get them processed and answered and back to you. If you'd not wanted to do anything now. So, Frederick and Gracian, thank you very much for that very informative session. Really good. And just really encourage dealers, if you will, go and see us at BTMA if you're there. Gracian will be there. So please do come and see us. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for attending. If there's no questions, then we'll let you get back on with your day. But really appreciate you attending today. And thanks very much, Frederick and Gracian.
It's our pleasure. And we'll be back with more information in the next months, because there are some other machines that we didn't show today, because yeah, of course, we are short in time. But in the next months, we will do additional presentations with other machines.
Yeah, I'd just like to add thank you very much, Gracian and Frederick, for that. That was excellent. Hopefully people got some benefit from that, which I'm sure they did. And just to reiterate what you said, yes, we will have the machine at BTME, the new EcoCure, and so you can everybody can have a good look around it there. We have got the special offers on, and there is some discount off that figure as well, Gracian. And I think we're known for our generosity. So, but we have got the machines in stock, and the EcoCure will be available for demonstration after BTME. So, thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
See ya. Have a great day.
See you.
Cheers.